Thanks for joining me this afternoon. What I'm going to be demonstrating for you this up here is citrus icebox tart with a liquid nitrogen ice cream. This is our best-selling dessert at AC3 right now. We just opened right down the street about 3 weeks ago. We're actually doing a table demonstration as well of the same exact dessert, so you may have already had it, or if you enjoy it that much extra, you can go ahead and get another second helping right at our table. So a couple cool components that we're actually doing is the liquid nitrogen. It's not your traditional ice cream method that you can do at home, but I kind of wanted to bring a wow factor to the demonstration today and kind of explain, you know, the cool aspects that liquid nitrogen can do to your ice cream. There's a lot of trendy ice cream spots right now that are, you know, making ice cream a la minute with nitrogen, and there's a lot of benefits to that. So I'm definitely going to, you know, show you one option today. But this ice cream, the Basil ice cream, can also be done at your home with a traditional, you know, Williams-Sonoma ice cream machine with the rock salt and spinning it and everything else. So don't feel like this dessert can't be made at home without liquid nitrogen. So what we're going to start with is we're going to make our icebox tart. So the inspiration of this dessert was built off of a key lime pie. So key lime pie is a very traditional, very flavorful, very understandable and user-friendly dessert that any home cook can do themselves. I definitely wanted to switch it up a little bit by using different flavors, and the main component to this is yuzu. So yuzu is a Japanese citrus that does have sweet components like other traditional citruses, but it also is very salty. So a nice component to sweet dishes is just a little bit of salt to kind of help balance and round out the entire dish, and we don't actually have to add any salt. The yuzu is going to do that for us. So I'm going to go ahead and start by adding 4 whole eggs. This is a very, very simple dish that you can do a day ahead of the time if you have a house party coming over. It definitely sits in the fridge well, and it holds temperature once it's wrapped in your fridge, so it doesn't get a crust or anything. But I like to do these a day ahead. We do them a day ahead at the restaurant just so they have an extra time to set and firm up a little bit. So we have 4 eggs. This is a combination of all of the citrus juices that are on your recipe card. So it's yuzu, orange juice, and a little bit of lemon. We're going to pour that in here. It's been pre-measured out, so I'm not cheating. And this is sweetened condensed milk. So this is going to kind of be the thickening sweet agent of the tart itself. And the cool component about this dish is that the acidity from the citrus is actually what's going to help cook the egg, so it doesn't sit in your oven for hours on hours, you know, like a cheesecake would. You're putting a cheesecake in a water bath, and you're hoping 45 minutes later the top's not burnt and the center's still jiggly, and you're like, well, how do I fix this? The citrus is what's really cooking the dish, but the addition of putting it in the oven also is the finaling cooking method. So we're just going to mix this together real quick, get the eggs, the milk, and the citrus all combined. Again, if you happen to have a KitchenAid mixer with 2 bowls, I urge you to put it in there. How's everybody enjoying themselves today, huh? It's a good crowd out there. All right. Yeah, we had a crazy breakfast across the street at the restaurant, and I just ran over here going, how much time do I have? Running over the table, making sure everything's good, and so far so good. So we're having a good time as well. On these countertops, I've been here for 5 minutes. They look great. All right, so real quickly, again, everything has been mixed. On the recipe, I prefer using graham cracker crusts. So that's something that you can quickly buy at any supermarket. Again, they have the 9-inch pre-done frozen pie shells. You blind bake those. You pop them in the oven real quick for a few minutes just to kind of cook that graham cracker and butter together. And you can simply just pour this into that mix itself. I've chosen today to do some smaller tart shells. This is a pastry dough. It's butter and flour and sugar. So it's a little different, but again, for the mass quantities, it's a lot simpler to do smaller bites. So basically all we're going to do is we're going to quickly put 2 ounces of each in each tart shell. Okay, and that's basically it. So we're gonna pop these in the oven here for 14 minutes at 350 degrees. Okay, set it and forget it, as George Foreman would say. So as those tart shells are cooking for those 14 minutes, we're going to go ahead and we're going to make some Yuzu Cream. So this is what's called an ISI can. Again, if you haven't used this before, this is just a canister that you can put liquid ingredients in here, preferably high fat, and you can charge it with some NO2, and basically you're making whipped cream on the fly. So, you know, nice restaurants that aren't just taking whipped cream out of a can and on your cocoa. This is how they're doing it. They're making whipped cream daily, and I'm going to show you how. So again, we have an empty canister with a lid, and we have 2 charges. So this is nitrous oxygen, excuse me. And so what we have here is heavy cream. This is our yuzu and vanilla mix. So again, yuzu is a Japanese citrus it's cultivated here a little bit in California, but it's predominantly produced overseas. It's very similar to like a lemon and a lime, but it's saltier than a traditional citrus. So that's the kind of cool aspect to this, is I enjoy adding salt into my desserts just to kind of emphasize that sugar and make, you know, the palate do some cool, fun things. And the yuzu is actually adding all of the salt that I need. So, what's that? Trader Joe's or Whole Foods, they both carry that, yes. So essentially, off. There we go. So the liquid is in, and essentially all we're doing is we're closing the lid here. Making sure it's on tight. And now we're going to go ahead and put it under some pressure. So again, the cartridges go in. You turn the whole unit upside down. Screw it in. And I don't know if you'll be able to hear this. Let me put. You can hear that or not. But basically, the pressure is now in the canister, and it's holding it. So I'm going to give it a good shake, and then I'm going to add another charge. What's that? Basically, it's foaming it out. So right now, we have whipped cream. It's that simple. It's just the charge and the air and the pressure, it breaks up all the fat content, and now we've created whipped cream. So we're going to set that off to the side here. One thing I'm not going to demonstrate it does take a little bit of time are the 2 components of garnishing for the dish. So this is what's called a Basil Nage. So nage simply being something that is steeped or cooked in, and this is Basil Nage. So what we did in the restaurant is we take the basil leaves and we steep them really quickly in water. We blanch them really quick and then shock them in ice water. And then we strain out all of that liquid, and what that does is that holds the green, firm color that we're looking for, that really vibrant green, to kind of go along with the rest of the basil components of the dish. So as you can see, I mean, I don't know, there it is. It's super, you know, Slimer green, the Grinch green. You know, it's really vibrant because we went ahead and we shocked it, and that's going to hold the color, and the flavor is just going to be an extreme basil punch in your mouth once you get a bite of it. So that's that. So what we did with that is, so once the basil has been squeezed out, we create what's called simple syrup. They use it at the bar a lot. We use 2 parts sugar to 1 part water and just do a quick boil on that. Once it's boiled, all the sugar has been dissolved, and essentially now you've created simple syrup. The combination of simple syrup and basil creates this nage effect, and this is the sauce to the dish. And then we have right next to it our basil seeds. So again, this dish is based off of the Basil Ice Cream. So the thought process of the entire dish was to emphasize and build around the Basil Ice Cream. That's the star of the show. I mean, this Basil Ice Cream, essentially, once you have it, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, basil and ice cream. Those are 2 combinations, 2 different flavors that I never would have thought to put together. And I promise you this is going to be something special. But the basil seeds is one other element of the basil textures and flavors that's going to complement this dish. And simply, it's basil seeds that are soaked in water. So you take basil seeds, 3 or 4 times the amount of the seeds to water, and you let them soak. And they get this cool little gelatinized coating around them, and we strain them off, and then we fold in agave. So agave is what's typically used to make tequila, but it definitely has a lot of sweet components to it, and that's essentially it. It's super simple, but it has that cool visual and textural element that really adds a fun element to the dish as well. So those are 2 things that aren't going to be demoed, but are here. So if you have questions on that, I have no problem going into more detail on how to get from A to B on that. So our tarts are still cooking. They're in there. Our whipped cream has been made, so we have that. And now we're going to go ahead and make some ice cream. So, liquid nitrogen. Again, the piece de resistance of the entire dish here. Liquid nitrogen is nitrogen in its liquid form, which is also 320 degrees below freezing. You can stick your hand in it. I don't suggest it for a short amount of time. It will not burn you. But what it does is it immediately freezes any sort of, literally anything you put in its way. I mean, it's amazing. Again, it's not that I'm recreating on how to make ice cream, but essentially it's making ice cream in the purest way and the quickest way possible. So again, a la menu ice cream, and here we go. Okay. So what we have here is our heavy cream. This is half and half and vanilla. And this is 1 cup of our Basil Nage. So again, really nice basil, steeped in simple syrup. So this is the only sweetness that we're adding to the dish. And that just goes right in. We'll drop the KitchenAid. We're going to start this on really low speed because, again, the idea is to slowly churn the ice cream, incorporating the liquid nitrogen into each molecule and not to over whip it, or if we do it too quickly, it turns into like rocks, and that's not what we're really looking for. So we're going to do this really slow. If it sprays all over the place, I'm considering this the Shamu splash zone, so be careful. And here we go. So again, it's just going to be streamed in super slowly. And if you've never seen liquid nitrogen before, here you go. It won't hurt you, I promise you. It's a fun show. So again, slowly streaming it in. So what this is doing is this is freezing the cream and all of the flavors together. And we're doing it nice and slow to making sure that it's slowly churned, and we're creating a nice, smooth ice cream. Let's see where we're at here. Okay. That camera getting any of that? Okay, so as this is occurring, I'm going to go, this is a blowtorch. Your regular butane, if you go camping, and this, a torch attachment. I'm going to go ahead and torch the sides of this to try to release some of the frozen bits that have stuck to the bottom of this bowl to really get a perfect mix on it. Turn the speed up a little bit. Okay. And then back with the nitrogen. So again, it's a little bit of a slow process, but ultimately we're getting very close here. You guys get in there and see that? And there we go. Basil ice cream. So you can turn this and everybody can see that. All right. Not bad for my first time, huh? Yeah, so we can go ahead and start passing the desserts. So we have small versions of our tarts that are still in our oven here. The basil ice cream, again, is the purest form of basil ice cream. There's no preservatives, there's no artificial additives. It's literally what you saw on stage today. Basil, simple syrup, cream, vanilla, and it's just, it's perfect. I mean, it really is. There's nothing difficult about it. And again, the ice cream can be done in a traditional ice cream machine. It's just I've chosen to do liquid nitrogen because you guys enjoy looking like liquid nitrogen. So I'm actually going to add a little bit more here. It's starting to soften up. It's fun. I like using it. All right. There we go. Perfect. All right, so for plate up, my style is very creative, very unique, very not cookie cutter, banquet style, everything in the middle of the plate, you know, threes. I'm very avant-garde, very abstract, and I'm going to show you kind of what I mean by that, by just how ununiform this dish looks. So our tarts are done. They've been in the oven here for 14 minutes. And they come out and they look just like that. So again, no water bath needed. The citrus helps cook the eggs and helps set it. So we're utilizing that aspect of the acidity and then a little bit of the oven temperature to kind of help us get from point A to point B. Again, these tarts, again, can be purchased right at your local supermarket, and you pull them out, and it's a perfect tart shell, perfect portion every time. I'm going to go ahead and just give it a chop. Okay. Ice cream scoop. So again, we're starting with our Basil Nage as kind of our sauce to the plate. Again, just wherever it lands is kind of the spot that I want it, really. That looks good to me. I'm going to go ahead and, again, put our tarts just however we feel that they need to lie. So again, our whipped cream has been made. It's been charged and it's ready to go. So when you make this, the first thing you should always do is try to do a quick charge off to the side. Traditionally, kind of like when you squeeze out ketchup or mustard, you get a little bit of that runny. I don't want that on my hamburger. Sort of the same thing here. You know, clear out the pipe a little bit, and we got perfect mix. Again, and just abstractly wherever you feel it looks good today. Okay. We'll go in with a little bit of our ice cream here. Hey. Thanks. Appreciate it, Jenna. Okay. 2 scoops of the ice cream. We'll go in with some of the basil seeds that, again, we've sweetened with agave. And then I have 2 different types of basil that I'm going to go ahead and use here. Again, just as garnishing elements. This is petite basil, Thai basil. Again, it's got a little bit more of a fresh bite to it than your regular typical basil. I like using it because it's just, again, it has that fresher feel to me. And again, just one little off to the side here. And these are what are called Basil Blossoms. So again, this is your basil before you get your nice leaves. And this is just a beautiful, beautiful garnish. Again, completely edible. They're not typically seen in your stores, so I kind of like to do something a little different. Put one guy a little here and another top right over to the side here. And there you have it. Citrus Icebox Tart with Basil Ice Cream. Any questions? I know I kind of went through this super quick. I don't know how much time we have left, but ultimately, again, I'm here to where do I work? That is my boss in the back, Andrew Copley. I work at AC3 at Hotel Paseo right down the street. Thank you. Thank you. Pleasure to work there. I'm glad we're open. I'm having a great time doing it. This is on our dessert menu. So, again, if you enjoy it, please stop by. We have plenty to go around. Also, we're demonstrating it at our table here in the main booth as well. And hopefully everything that I tried to get across you guys are enjoying as well. So, questions? Yes, sir. Say that again. Are you a local? There's a company in Thousand Palms called Air Gas. I don't think that they service to regular, individuals, but they also did explain to me when I went to pick this up that you can start a credit app there for them for regular usage. There's a lot more usages for this other than ice cream, but ultimately, again, ice cream is the big one for, restaurant industry. I mean, I've done mousses with it. You can instantly freeze things. So again, if your butter's melting, your refrigerator broke down, just throw, liquid nitrogen you just have laying around the garage, just throw it in there. Yes, ma'am. I don't know about locally. I would think Whole Foods would carry them. It's becoming a more common item. Again, you can actually probably buy them at Home Depot. These are the same exact seeds that you would plant and grow. So we just buy them in a larger bulk size. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am. Yes, so AC3 is a combination of Andrew Copley, Juliana Copley, and Tony Marchese of Trio. The menu is the menu is designed around American food with twists. So everything on our menu is very classic, very approachable, and very traditional. But what we're doing is plating it a little bit differently, throwing some weird, funky flavors in there that just kind of perk your interest a little bit. So, we have a traditional short rib that's not served with mashed potatoes. It's not served with honey glazed carrots. But ultimately, you still get those fun elements because I want a short rib. I want it to stick to my ribs. I want it to be home and fun and what Grandma used to make. We're doing it, which is a little bit of our way. And that element or that thought process is from breakfast, lunch, dinner, desserts. The entire menu has that thought process. We actually have copies of all of our menus at our table, so I urge you to go. Please look at that. Yes, Chef. What's that? Why not? Everybody uses blue and white, You got to be. It matches the attire for this evening. That's a great question, by the way. Thanks, Chef. Anything else? Awesome. Well, please. What's that? Second round? Okay. Well, again, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. I hope you guys enjoyed the tart, and I look forward to seeing you guys at the restaurant. Thank you so much.